What's up, Jonas? Nice to meet you.
Hey guys, sorry guys, I was on mute. Nice to meet you guys. Hey.
Gives me
Yeah, nice to
all
meet you. We're
good.
just kicking off here. I think JP was saying some other folks are joining too.
Great.
Awesome.
Yep, just got a couple people joining, but in the meantime, Jonas, yeah, pleasure to meet you. Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and your use case.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I work at a small medical startup in Germany, and I had the task like 1.5 years ago to basically build up our entire DevOps environment, and that's why I stumbled on Argo and Argo workflows, and I started using it, and since then, it's been great. We have now a huge collection of pipelines, workflows running. Stuff is working, but I'm discovering new things, running into new challenges, and that's why also how I stumbled in here we had a Slack channel. So I'm now next big project for us is to actually upgrading it because we're still running on a rather older version, 3.3. So this is something I will do in the next few days. And yeah, I'm just happy to finally meet some folks also working in Argo workflows because in my company I'm rather alone, I would say, in this field right now. So it's cool to finally have some input from the outside. Thanks for having me.
Jonas, what kind of like issues are you running into with Argo workflows? Or like kind of what's currently on top of your work queue?
Um, well, I wasn't expecting to you guys like be focused on me, but it's awesome. Well, right now one of the small issues I posted in Slack is just I'm not sure if it's because I have an older version or it's something I just don't get yet. But I just have a step which I basically want to have running like independent of the step before it failed or it's successful, but it doesn't run. So the step before that step gets skipped, and then obviously my subsequent step which I always want to have running is not running, and I'm not sure currently what I'm doing wrong. But it's kind of hard to explain it without showing something. But I think in the Slack channel, if you guys you don't have to solve that issue now because I can spend some more hours on it or minutes. But if you want to have a look, feel free. It's in the channel. This is something I do right now. And other than that, I just prepare the update and see if there's potentially breaking changes. I found the upgrading guide. There are a few breaking changes I saw, but I think we are not affected by them yet. But this is something I'm just preparing right now. So not having larger issues, just having smaller issues every now and then, which I just take some time to figure out. But it's the daily business of the DevOps guy, being a
Yeah.
DevOps guy, I guess. Yeah.
So on your depends question,
Yeah.
my suggestion is to add task rather than saying what's your actual name of it is create pull request. Rather than create pull request by itself, put create pull request dot succeeded or create pull request dot failed or create pull request dot skipped. I can't see why that would actually help, but I'm not sure what's going wrong there. That looks like it should work. Tim, do you know the thread?
I think by default, dot skipped is ignored if you just do
Okay.
the name of the thing. So you have to explicitly say dot skipped, I think.
Well, you say Janice has got create pull request or create pull request dot failed or create pull request dot skipped.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm basically trying all of them, and it might sound stupid. You guys probably think, why is it even dependent if I don't care about the previous step? But it is. It depends because I'm using the status of it of the previous step in this step. So yeah, my expectation would be that it runs because I basically cover all the statuses in my depends, but so far I didn't get it to run.
The other thing is to just turn it into an on exit handler because you always want it to run as that DAG exits.
Yeah. So then you say the exit handler would then basically run my step because
It would always run. Yeah.
It runs
Yeah.
every time unless you terminate the workflow.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna try next. Today I haven't been working on it, so I can't really say I've spent too much time today on it. But don't worry, I will figure it out. This call was not to solve my issues, just to meet you guys. And is that a weekly thing you guys do? And is always somebody with issues, and then you try to solve the issues?
The idea, yeah, that's what we're here for.
That's great. That's awesome. Cool. And
In terms of your
Yeah.
upgrade, yeah, it should be relatively smooth. This is from memory, so someone did correct me. The big change is the executor. I
Yeah,
think
I
from
saw
3.3
that.
to 3.4.
Yeah.
But you can kind of preempt that. You can use the emissary executor in 3.3 by setting that in your config map, so you can see what badness is up ahead. I've done a few of these upgrades, and actually the executor hasn't been an issue. Doing that upgrade, I can't think of any customers who had that problem off the top of my head anyway. But yeah, that's the biggest thing to be aware of. And the pods rename, that came in 3.4, didn't it?
Pod names V2.
Yeah, so the pods will change their style of name.
Oh, okay.
So
That sounds good to
then
me.
yeah, which probably won't affect you. But
No.
if you've got stuff that is specifically looking for the pods as they are named at the moment, then
Yeah.
bad things will happen. But other than that, it's a pretty smooth upgrade.
And just in general, like I'm following the release notes every now and then. It's obviously a lot happening, which I love. But would you guys say it's worth it to upgrade from 3.3? We are on 3.36 to the latest version, or is it
Yeah,
something?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on 3.5.4.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
go much lower. If you're going to 3.5, I wouldn't go much lower than 3.5.4.
No, 3.5.4 is the only one I'd recommend. I mean, 3.5.2 to 3.5.4 are all fine, but it's only really bug fixes between the two, between 3.5.2 and 3.5.4. Are you going to 3.5 or 3.4?
Well, I was thinking of going to the latest one, obviously.
Yeah,
but
cool. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'd recommend. I was just there's a you'll manage to skip over any of the bad things that happened. If you do
awesome.
that. There's some bad things that happened in 3.4.8 and 3.5.1's 3.5.0 and 3.5.1 are not recommended either.
And I have one more question, then I'm done. Okay. Regarding when I'm upgrading Argo workflows, usually what we did the last time, we also upgraded Argo CD and Argo events since we use all of them.
Okay.
Is that something I must do, like upgrading all of them, or are they very?
No, they're very separate, independent apps, really. Events is slightly more coupled to workflows, but I think all of those versions, any version for the last few years, should work without issue, I think. And Argo CD, you can basically treat as a completely separate product. So you can upgrade that on a different cadence, really.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
No, it's fine.
No problem.
Sure, we're here to help, Jonas. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.
All right. We had James join. James, nice to meet you today. Are there any Argo workflows or generally like Argo or data infrastructure, like kind of items that you would like to dive into or work through?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, thumbs up.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't used Zoom in a minute. I'm just kind of I made the window turn into a tiny little thumbnail in the corner of my screen, and I don't know how to make it come back. Anyway, I'll just ignore that for now. You guys are like a tiny little window over there. But anyway, yeah, you or someone on LinkedIn had invited me here a few months ago, I think. And then I had asked a question in Slack, in the CNCF Slack in the Argo Workflows channel. And Anton was talking to me for a minute. And then he said, if you have questions, you should join this. And then I remembered, oh yeah, that other guy had invited me to join that before too. So I thought I'd just come and kind of check it out. I can't even remember now off the top of my head what it was I was asking about that Anton had responded to. So
What's
I think I'll just be a fly on the wall for the time being.
Yeah, for sure, my man. Is your Slack handle just your name? We could go through Slack and just search it and find that issue, pull it up and
Yeah, it is.
through it.
Yeah, I just use my full name in Slack. I'm not trying to I don't care if people know who I am or whatever. I even put like my company name in there and stuff. I know some people prefer to try to keep some anonymity, some of these online channels, but
We feel you. All right, so let's search.
I'm looking at it here. Let's see, what did I say? What was I trying to do? Our stuff isn't even in production yet, so you know, we keep building and blowing things up and then rebuilding and making it better, and we're getting close to production. Probably next quarter, I would imagine we're going to start actually moving things to production. But what was I doing? I think it was last week. I see the thing, but I'm trying to remember what I was doing. I see the thread.
$2 to the first person who finds this post within Slack and puts it within the Zoom
It's
chat.
It's the
yeah,
CICD one, yeah.
it's from 6 days ago.
Yeah, it's this one.
I guess I could
It's like-
copy the link and put it in the chat in Zoom. That probably would have been faster. Sorry about
Okay.
that. Yeah, we are trying to use events and workflows for CI. That's what we've been building. And it's going okay. We have a few main workflows and then some things broken out into templates. Oh yeah, so because we don't have archiving set up in workflows, because we need a Postgres database, and we don't have one for that, so I'd have to probably create one for that. We've been going back and forth on creating a external Postgres cluster and using external SQL for all of our tools, because it seems like all of our tools use Postgres. But anyway, I've just been working with the lead from our team on the Kubernetes stuff because it's all new to us. But he asked me to make it so that the pods hang around in workflows so that he can easily go look at the logs from the pods. So I've been going in and manually deleting the pods, you know, every week or whatever. And I was thinking, well, if I could just create like a button in our notification that has a link to the logs in Grafana where we view the the logs of Loki through Grafana, that I could just turn this off again and these pods wouldn't be hanging around forever. So it's not a big problem, but I was trying to figure out how I could concatenate this string for this link to Grafana for the logs. And I was talking to Anton, and he was telling me something that he had done in the past. It's been a week, so I'm trying to remember now. We're talking about
There
using
is a way
hooks
to
for each task. DAG task hooks would be one thing.
I was more mentioning, so if you're trying to get the logs for an individual workflow run and get them to show up within the UI view, there is a way to like configure a specific link and put it in the actual UI view itself. I think you do that within the workflow controller config map. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Tim.
You're exactly right. Yeah, there's it's controlled by the workflow controller config map, and it is in the example one in the documents. but you have a number of places that you can put the buttons, and one of the places is alongside the step, and that has a magic way of getting the pod name so that when you click the button you can go straight through to Loki. I was just trying to see if I've got an old example that isn't just the one that's in the documentation, but yes, it's definitely possible, and you basically don't need to put any effort in, which is perfect, right?
Okay, yeah, because I was going through a lot of effort, like, okay, so how am I gonna concatenate this string in some sort of a script and then, you know, add that into the notifications that we're getting in Teams. But you're saying that I can just change, oh yeah, this little tiny thumbnail. Let me see if I can figure out how to, here we go, exit minimized video.
Yeah, I can
Yeah, the
also throw a
workflow
link to
controller config map.
the specific line within the Zoom chat, which should hopefully help.
Workflows docs controller config map. Okay.
Right. So within this links section on line 60, here's where you can start like configuring the links that are going to appear in, I think it's the top right corner of an individual workflow view within the UI. So if you have like a valid URL here, so podlogs is going to be like a good one. This is just going to be the URL of whatever logging solution you use. I think you mentioned Loki. So this will be like your Loki endpoint. And then each one of these interpolation fields will interpolate based on the Argo workflow itself. And so you should have a link to just click like podlogs, and it'll pull up Loki with your podlogs for that individual workflow run.
Yeah, so the only time they really look at logs is if something fails. So ideally, if they can click the something for logs in the workflows UI and pull up the logs from Grafana, then it doesn't matter if we're archiving or not, at least, you know, with regard to the logs historically. So where does this button show up in the UI?
In a number of places. So that particular button is in the little side tray thing.
It's the logs button.
Yes, it's next
like
to
the
that
one that
logs.
I've always clicked
not,
on.
It's not that button. It adds an additional button next to it, or very near it. And you can add many custom links if you custom buttons if you want to. So you're not limited to just a logs link.
And this is all just in the workflows controller config map.
That's it. And then you need to probably restart the UI after adding that to the controller config map, I would imagine.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's going at it from a different direction, but that's very helpful. Thank you.
Good.
Awesome. Let me see if I can just pull up a quick view.
It's the slowest workflows ever. Is that your local machine? Oh no, it's not. Oh, good. It's our environment.
Yeah. My internet's just not great. I was promised this location had a like super fast fiber optic, but it does not.
So before you click anywhere, you can put a button in that top row. So one of the options in the config map is to put it there on where JP's circling. And so you could have a logs link that is all the logs for the workflow in the same way that's how the current logs button works, right? But equally, if you go to the very bottom node and scroll, you could put a button on the right hand side here next to events with your own custom wording and custom link.
So the default logs button will still be there. You'll just have an additional logs button.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, got it.
All right, my man. Anything else we can help with?
No, that's what finally motivated me to come check this out. So appreciate you guys taking the time to give me that advice.
For sure. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you today. All right. In that case, any other items that we have to chat about, pipe getters? Nope. In that case, good seeing everyone. We'll wrap this one up for the day. Yeah, good to answer some questions and to meet some peeps. Have a great week.
There we go, Lemon.